Hey there, fellow wanderers. As you lie comfortably nestled in your warm cocoon, imagine a day where the air carries whispers of ancient secrets, scented with the unmistakable aroma of exotic spices. The darkness around you is vast, yet comforting, much like the sprawling Persian Empire itself, where empires were molded in the shadows, and whispers dictated the fates of kings. Here, stone columns tell tales of opulence and intrigue, echoing through the halls of time. Picture yourself standing at the threshold of a grand civilization, a place where golden sunsets fade into the dusk, of bazaars bustling with life and mystery. This is not a fairy tale. This is the Persian Empire, a realm of such grandeur and complexity that its legacy continues to captivate. Every shadowed alley hides a story, every market stall hums with possibilities. As the first rays of light touch the grand palaces, a rich mosaic of life unfolds, both awe-inspiring and daunting. So before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. The Persian Empire beckons, a colossal labyrinth of power, sophistication, and awe-striking intricacy that rose and thrived thousands of years ago. The empire, once the largest ever seen by mankind, was a remarkable tapestry woven with threads of myriad cultures, languages, and beliefs. You stand at what must feel like the beginning of time. Stretched before you are vast landscapes that witness the convergence of East and West. As you wander through the empire's grandeur, it's impossible not to be entranced by the sights, smells, and sounds that envelop you. In the distance, you can hear the rhythmic clinking of a hammer, master craftsmen shaping stone, etching history into marble with every swift strike. The air is thick with the scent of incense wafting from temples where Zoroastrian priests chant hymns to a Harem's supreme deity that governs light and truth. It's a world where the sacred and the secular dance together in a cosmic ballet. And despite the seemingly harmonious existence, beneath the surface lies a pulsing tension. Political machinations as intricate as the calligraphy that adorns royal decrees. The Persian Empire was not a singular monolith, but an amalgamation of various people and cultures. From the Medes to the Elamites, Assyrians to Lydians, these absorbed cultures added their own colours to the already vibrant tapestry of Persian society. Spanning from the Aegean Sea to the Indus River, the empire's reach was unparalleled, relying on an intricate administration system where satraps, or regional governors, controlled vast territories, each one a king's microcosm in his own right. Historians still argue whether such a decentralized system was indeed the empire's strength or its vulnerability. As you meander through Persepolis's sprawling terraces, the empire's ceremonial capital, your senses are overwhelmed by its sheer grandeur. Here you can touch the cool, chiseled reliefs on regal stone staircases that tell stories of conquests and peace treaties in mesmerizing detail. The architectural brilliance is nothing short of breathtaking. But this dizzying beauty is not for mere decoration. It serves a daunting purpose, a tangible reminder of the empire's omnipotence. Yet while you wander these ancient streets, the idea of survival in such a vast empire tightens your adventurous spirit. The very magnitude and diversity that define the Persian realm also create a world teetering on the edge, with the potential for upheaval simmering just beneath the polished facade. As your journey unfolds, consider the layers of sophistication intermingled with the primal instincts of survival. The empire was an immense organism, and while its heart beat with the prosperity of triumphant rule, it was the countless citizens, the unnamed souls like you, who truly animated it. You'll encounter colossal stone guardians that flank gateways, eternal sentinels protecting not just the city but the intricate dance of life within its walls. Your journey will take you through vibrant bazaars, where the languages of the world intermingle like a symphony, traders haggling in dialects as varied as the goods they sell, spice-laden carpets, precious metals, and delicate silks. You'll stand in the shadow of kings and envision the boundless ambitions that spurred conquests and established order, and you'll find that the echoes of the past are stark reminders of the present, whispering not of the relics of a bygone time, but of the enduring legacy woven through the very fabric of history. Yes, the Persian Empire embraced grandeur and ambition. But, dear wanderer, it was a place that demanded more than mere participation from its denizens. To thrive was a challenge like no other. This odyssey through an ancient world is just beginning. So, step lightly, breathe deeply, and remember, even in magnificent Persia, the dance of life's complexity was a relentless partner. You awaken to the soft, golden glow of dawn creeping over the parched earth. The Persian Empire sprawls around you, demanding your presence in the rhythm of its daily labours. As you attempt to stretch and shrug off the clinging tendrils of sleep, the reality of your existence hits you as a persistent desert breeze carries the scent of dry earth and sweet, distant spices beneath your nose. The sun rises quickly, its rays filtering through the dusty windows of your modest abode, casting long shadows that dance across the floor like ethereal whispers from the realm of shadows. A distant Zoroastrian concept you've often heard murmured in passing. Yet the airy mysticism quickly fades as the true weight of the day's toil begins to press upon your shoulders. No grand palaces or towering columns greet you here. You're a peasant, a vital yet seldom celebrated cog in the empire's grand machinery. Your home is small, its mud brick walls absorbing the outside heat like a sponge, while offering the barest relief within, a constant reminder of the stark duality of prestige and labour in this sprawling empire. Today, like every other day, begins with tending to the fields. As part of the agricultural backbone, you work the fertile crescent near the royal capital, your hands already cracked and calloused from wielding the astur, your humble plough. A mule trudges ahead, accustomed now to your quiet curses and the occasional indulgent pat. Around you, neighbours echo the reassurance only peers in suffering can offer, with laughter that bursts forth like a momentary relief from your collective fatigue. Persisting through the sweltering heat, the dusty soil clinging to your skin, you glance towards the far reaches, where the king's silos are filled. The empire's opulence seems like a dream, but this grain, the soft sibilance as it slides between fingers and into storage, is the lifeblood flowing to the empire's many veins. The Persian administration is both a distant tyrant and a surprising ally, its complexities mirrored by the regulations governing your every task. Tax collectors roam these lands with an efficiency that feels almost otherworldly. They are relentless, the enforcers of tribute. Be it in barley or beasts, the empire's appetite is insatiable. Yet in their shadow looms a tacit understanding, because without your labour, their own grand visions would dwindle into mere fantasies. In a world governed by formal protocols written in cuneiform script, there's a pastoral bureaucracy persisted entirely on scribbled tax ledgers and quiet resolve. Some argue about its origins, debating whether its roots lie in the old Median kingdom or were a clever Achaemenid invention. Regardless, you feel its impact acutely, even this far removed from the sumptuous heart of the empire. Somewhere in the distance, a melodic chant rises over the fields. The Zoroastrian priests, nestled in the cool stone of a fire temple, engage in solemn rituals. To them, fire is sacred, a light of purity amidst earthly corruption. These flames flicker eternal in your thoughts, a guiding warmth against the encroaching shadows of doubt you sometimes face when staring across the dusty land, dreams hazy against the harsh sunlight. By midday, you steal momentary respite under the limited shade of a nearby tree, the temperature soaring as the sun reaches its zenith. Food, simple and nourishing, bolsters your spirit. A fragrant flatbread paired with creamy yogurt conjures fleeting joys amidst mundane toil. You savour the familiar tang, the warm texture, and the lingering hint of smoky bread. Luxuries claimed by your ancestors, whose stories could echo the breadth of history. Occasionally, a wandering bard passes through your village, sharing tales of magnificent banquets at the emperor's court. These stories feel otherworldly, recounting delicacies so grand they sound like sweet illusions against the work scars adorning your hands. Yet they plant an image in your heart, a vision of an empire that stretches beyond the fields into realms of wonder. Evening descends as a balm, the sun drooping onto the horizon, shadows growing bold and confident. The air cools marginally, still warm but with promises of cooler twilight. You drag yourself homeward. muscles worn yet accompanied by a sense of quiet triumph. Another day survived, a feat not to be underestimated in this ancient age where simplicity is imbued with significance. Gazing up at a sky woven with stars, you reflect that in the empire's heart, where noblemen draw maps on land and politics alike, your labour may seem inconspicuous. A silent guardian sustaining an empire's ambition. Though you might never stand amidst the marble halls of Persepolis or the cedar-scented rooms of Susa, your life is entwined in a subtle saga woven into the very foundations of this vast, intricate tapestry. Tomorrow the sun will rise again, indifferent yet dependable. You will rise with it. Answer the persistent call of the earth, nurturing its potential, fueling the empire's grand spectacle in the only way you know, patient perseverance. So remember, dear wanderer, among fields spread wide and wide, victory lies not in conquest, but in humble existence and the ceaseless bond shared with the soil beneath. As the shadows of evening deepen and the stars unfurl their shimmering cloak across the heavens, let's lift the curtain on a different realm within the Persian Empire, a world steeped in such luxury that it would make the common labourer pause in disbelief. Your modern sensibilities might struggle to grasp the sheer opulence of a royal banquet, a tribute to both the indulgence and the intricate politics dancing their eternal waltz within the hallowed halls of Persian power. Imagine standing on the polished floors of one of the empire's grand palaces. The walls are laden with intricate carvings and precious stones, shimmering elegantly in the glow of flickering torches and oil lamps. The air is heavy with the enchantingly sweet fragrance of frankincense and myrrh, mingling with the tantalizing aromas wafting from colossal kitchens. Before you lies a banquet hall bedecked in the rich tapestries of life and legend, a tableau set to delight and deceive. Tonight you are a guest at the emperor's table, an invitation more imagined than real for most of the empire's populace. Seated amidst the cream of Persian nobility, the air here tingles with a mixture of reverence and rivalry as courtiers exchange deft glances, each calculated to stake a claim in this silent battlefield. A place where even the slightest misstep can echo through the corridors of power with the subtlety of a lion's roar. The feast itself is a sensory symphony. Everywhere you look, the table overflows with dishes fit for an empire. A parade of culinary delights showcases the empire's dominion. From the fertile valleys to the endless sands, silver plates bearing pomegranates ruby red as the sunset, fresh almonds and pistachios as delicate as the night breeze, sparkling grains of rice perfumed with saffron and draped in citrus zest, and the piece de résistance, a roasted lamb, its skin crackling in the flame's golden embrace. But beware, dear wanderer. Amidst this abundance, the truth of power plays peek out. Such lavish displays are not mere acts of generosity. Instead, each morsel is weighed with the emperor's expectations, each cup of wine a symbol of alliances forged or sundered. Historians still argue whether the true power of the Persian throne lay in its military might or in these elaborate social rites that deftly bound the empire's far-reaching fragments into a cohesive whole. You taste the delicacies with an appreciative nod, aware that this meal is as much about the theatre of influence as it is about satisfying hunger. It's a rite of passage among the power-hungry elite to secure their standing amidst whispers, allegiances, and, occasionally, betrayals, brewed as smoothly as the rich, dark Persian wine flowing into golden chalices. As you savour the cuisine, imagine the conversations swirling around the table. Voices rise and dip like many-layered harmonies in a regal opera. Discussions of conquests, the quo vadis of political marriages, subtle barb exchanges hidden beneath honeyed compliments. And through it all, the emperor remains a silent composer. Seated at the head of the table, each gesture and glance measured and purposeful, asserting dominance in this grand arena of opulence. For you, a wanderer in this alien world, the experience is breathtaking, almost surreal. Today's powerhouse might know mainstream historical facts, like the subjugation of Lydia and Babylon by the great Cyrus and Darius, both celebrated rulers enshrined in memory through their grand achievements as much as their delectable feasts. As the evening progresses, entertainments unfold, another chapter within this velvet-clad ordeal. Musicians pluck the strings of lutes, weaving tales through melancholic melodies. Dancers perform stories as ancient as the kingdom itself, their beauty a compelling distraction from the palpable tension softly entwining the evening air. Every movement, each note, a step deeper into the world where art and ambition are in constant embrace. Among whispers, tales of kings once regaling over table banter with the spontaneity of peacocks strutting their plumage to impress and intimidate with equal flair. Stories of men whose decisions written today shift the sands of history, yet unfold like the pageantry of a flickering hourglass, shifting, timeless, and perpetually indelible. Under the intoxicating haze of night, prophecy and history intertwine. The banquet hall becomes a universe delineated by flickering candles and longing shadows, a microcosm wherein ambition, desire, and destiny converge. The night stretches onward, unravelled by whispers, as guests disperse with hearts weary and bodies sated. So here you stand, somewhat bewildered perhaps, a silent observer to a night resplendent in extravagance, but heavy with unspoken narratives. Tomorrow, the struggles of living within these opulent walls persist, with intrigue emerging anew like the rising sun. For now, however, pocket a memory, a moment where life's mysteries lay laid intricately beneath soft candlelight, echoing stories woven through centuries. Timeless whispers, lost amidst the cavernous tapestry of the ages within this empire's beating heart. You find yourself drawn deeper into the enigmatic workings of the Persian Empire, like a moth to a flame whose allure is as captivating as it is bewildering. With each passing day amid its opulence and mystery, there is one space that holds a magnetism unmatched by almost any other. An exclusive enclave shielded by discretion, decorum, and a series of imposing doors. Welcome, if you dare to peek, into the royal harem. Under the sprawling roof of the emperor's palace, far removed from the public eye, sits a world unto itself, a realm of perfumed baths, clandestine power plays, and whispered secrets. Here, within these intricately adorned chambers, the harem echoes with the gentle splash of water in marble baths, scented with roses and jasmine. Aromas weave a fragrant tapestry with a purpose, seclusion and allure defined in equal measure. As a visitor in this clandestine cosmos, the adjustment to such spectacle may be jarring. Here, the temperature is temperate and welcoming, emanating a warmth that belies the world outside, where responsibilities loom as endlessly as the empire's borders. The very air seems saturated with the elusive promise of respite, an invitation to shed the dust of journeys long and vast. Within the harem, the ritual of bathing is an art form. The water is not mere sustenance, but a canvas for luxury, infused generously with milk and honey, the prized offerings of emperors and queens throughout time, alchemized into skin-softening potions befitting such divine creatures. Music drifts lazily through the vapor-filled air, notes echoing against the fine stone and whispered echoes of laughter. Here, the harem is more than a sanctuary. It is a chessboard where each piece, from the beloved queen to the newly arrived, is bound by intricate rules. Despite its veneer, a paradise behind closed doors, it pulses with an undercurrent of unending strategy and unstinting protocol. It is said to be a place of solace and joy, yet historians still argue whether it was closer to a gilded cage, binding its residents with golden chains of expectation and restraint. This unique realm thrives on subtlety. Every glance, every word is weighted with purpose, a silent saga playing out in demurely lit quarters. The women of the harem wield quiet power, their influence seeping into the imperial decree as softly as the flavoured waters in which they bathe. Conversations, like jewels so carefully cut, must reflect intentions found just beneath the surface. Balancing diplomacy with desire, they navigate a world where alliances are as hidden as the rooms themselves. To outsiders, this may seem a world apart, yet to its inhabitants this is an empire distilled to its most delicate essence. A place where both history and destiny are crafted from behind silken screens and whispered confidences. You might wonder how such a world could function. Indeed, the conundrum of power, cloaked as it is in petals and perfume, is deftly wielded by the women who reside here. In its essence, this cloistered life offers release from the wider empire's palpable weight, while embracing an unseen but equally formidable authority. The trappings of luxury, lavish garments, the finest jewelry emphasize their standing, but it is the unseen hand that influences, the voice that advises, which truly shapes events beyond these hushed corridors. You recall tales of adorned beauties of the harem, exercising their mind's vigor behind serene facades. Like reeds in the river, they bend without breaking, adapting to each tide with elegance and grace, whispering hope and ambition amidst unyielding expectations. Their tales become folklore, woven into the cultural fabric that underpins the empire itself. The chores of intrigue never seem to rest, even at night. Voices echo behind closed doors, the rustle of silk, the echo of secrets penned upon the parchments of history. Those within absorb knowledge like medicine sticky on the tongue, necessary if not always sweet. The world you glimpse here, with its soft footsteps and scented air, offers a glimpse into the backbone of imperial power, a testament to strength both fierce and invisible. So you see, dear wanderer, the royal harem is much more than quiet repose. It is a crucible of power, influence and tradition, hidden behind a seductive veil of tranquility. Here legends are born, desires shaped, and destinies met with velvet grace. Intangible yet undeniable, and as you exit, with droplets of honey-scented fortune still trailing on the breeze, remember, every empire has its secrets, and here, within these walls, you've just experienced one of its most guarded narratives. A world where whispers may well speak louder than deeds. As your journey through the Persian Empire continues, your path now leads you to a place where the very fabric of the divine meets the mortal. Zoroastrian temples, sacred sanctuaries where ancient traditions kindled in the flicker of an eternal flame. It's within these hallowed temples that spiritual life unfolds, tightly interwoven with the empire's day-to-day endeavours as seamlessly as the threads of an exquisite Persian rug. The sun is high, casting sharply defined shadows as you approach a temple, its towers rising against the horizon. The scent of burning myrrh drifts through the air, simultaneously soothing and strengthening your resolve to venture inward, guided by whispers of ancient devotion. You step inside, greeted initially by an unfamiliar darkness that quickly reveals itself as a space brimming with life and vigour. Zoroastrianism, the faith carrying both the burden and blessings of empire's conscience, embraces fire not only as a symbol of their deity, Ahura Mazda, but as a living conduit to divine will. The fire temple is its heart, and you're immediately struck by the warm glow of the Atash Behram, a fire that has been burning for centuries, sustaining itself through the reverence and faith of its followers. This eternal flame represents purity, truth, and order, concepts that resonate deeply within this culture, guiding both ethical and environmental life. The fire burns upon an altar tended with devotion by the priests, known as mobeds. As keepers of this faith, the mobeds move with a sense of purpose born of devotion and centuries of tradition, their chants resonating like wind through the leaves. The temple, with its austere yet captivating architecture, is filled with the soft chants of prayers. The walls encircle you like an embrace, covered in ancient inscriptions that recount tales of virtue overcoming vice. Yet this serenity belies the complexities and at times the contradictions that spiritual life can invite. Historians still debate the precise origins of Zoroastrianism, questioning whether its monotheistic claims are an evolution from earlier polytheistic beliefs deeply rooted in this region. As you stand there, observing, the serenity of the sacred rituals invokes reflection on the nuance of human existence, a beacon guiding away from chaos but not devoid of mystery. The world within this temple seemingly operates on principles as exact as they are enigmatic, much like the intricate motifs etched into the stone and the psalms carried in reverence. Within Zoroastrian philosophy, the duality between order and chaos mirrors the struggle of life itself. You realize that the tenets emphasized here, good thoughts, good words, good deeds, spread like tendrils from the temple out into the imperial machinery, shaping laws and morality. Here, the sacred is enacted through more than elaborate rites. It imbues everyday life with purpose. The temple's atmosphere encourages introspection, a rare luxury in the oftentimes ruthless tempo of the empire. Yet even here, politics subtly wends its way, like water diffusing ink on parchment. implying alliances with rulers and statesmen who tip their own ambitions toward the benevolent gaze of the Mobed's blessings. Observing a young initiate tending to the sacred flame, you ponder the faith's influence on the empire's elite and commoner alike. Its simplicity veils a complex web, a philosophy that underpins and questions, shapes yet challenges. A delicate balance as precarious as the ever-burning flame. Sometimes the emperor himself makes a pilgrimage to this sanctuary, seeking guidance and reaffirming legitimacy tied inextricably to these sacred fires. Witness to these visits are the chroniclers, those who inscribe the sacred and the mundane with a mix of veneration and practicality, scripting events that debate history's tangled paths with careful precision. As the rituals continue, drums gently vibrate the air, their rhythms harmonizing with the chanting. It serves as both a reminder and reassurance. Despite life's inherent chaos, there exists a tapestry of resilience and faith underpinning one's worldly journey, stitched by hands unseen, yet undeniably influential. Bidding the temple farewell, you carry with you a heightened awareness that the lines between the sacred and secular are intricate and blurred in this grand empire. The flicker of sacred fire remains an assuring presence within you, a hint at the undercurrents directing the empire's vicissitudes, a testament that even in the grand theatre of power and politics, the unseen, a divine flame, continually guides the conscience and character of its rulers and citizens alike. And so, you leave with an abiding sense of reverence, having walked briefly where the ethereal and material worlds meet, reminding you of a truth that flickers eternal. The echoes of ancient hymns still resonate in your mind as you step out from the temple, carrying forward into the larger-than-life realm of the Persian military. The empire, vast and sprawling, was not just held together by administrative prowess and cultural tapestry, but by the strength and strategy of its formidable army. Among these warriors, one elite group stands out, shrouded in myth as much as reality: the Immortals. In the shimmering heat of the day, the air seems to pulse with anticipation as soldiers drill rhythmically, their movements slicing through the desert air as precisely as surgeons carving their artworks upon history's flesh. The relentless clang of armor punctuates the cacophony, and you can almost feel the rhythmic pounding of thousands of boots beating against the sun-scorched earth, their unity showcasing a discipline honed to perfection. To visualize the army, especially the legendary Immortals, is to witness an indomitable force that fuels the Empire's expanding reach. The roaring heartbeat of the military machine, numbering possibly in the tens of thousands, it is these men who stand as both shield and spear, ready to defend and to conquer. The Immortals, 10,000 strong, are an elite force, a name both awe-inspiring and chilling in its implication of endless reinforcements, hinting at their immortality in strength and number. Amidst this disciplined chaos, you find yourself shoulder to shoulder with soldiers clad not unlike yourself, in tunics cinched with belts, iron helmets that gleam beneath the sun, and indispensable weapons, from the bow and quiver to the spear. The Immortals brand their legacy not just in combative force, but in symbolic representation of the Emperor's relentless spirit. They are ensign-bearers, standard-bearers of an empire's ideological and tactical zenith, wielding a power that is felt as much as seen. The Persian military's reputation is built upon this cohesion, this unity of numbers and resolute spirit. For in a land as vast as Persia, diversity is both a blessing and a tactical element. Soldiers hail from many corners of the empire, from the verdant fields of Anatolia to the arid stretches of Sogdiana, and they march to command with a harmony bolstered by a shared purpose that transcends individual peril. And yes, within this grand tapestry, historians still argue whether it was their sheer numbers, the strategy, or perhaps the fearsome reputation of the Immortals that forged their invincibility. Observing from the sidelines, you're enveloped by a mixture of admiration and trepidation. These fighters embody the Empire's undying quest for expansion and supremacy. The clang of metal against metal, as troops practice combat drills, reverberates through the air, a symphony conducted by seasoned generals at the helm, whose strategies employ the art of war as deftly as a needle stitching together disparate edges of a sprawling quilt. Their presence upon the dusty plains maintains a delicate balance, the perceived benevolence of Persian rule predicated not merely on structural administration, but the ever-present edge of military might. Trade thrives beneath this martial umbrella, the clatter of coins in markets echoing the clatter of swords on the battlefield. Both measures of an empire's strength. As drills relent into formations, the sun begins its gradual descent, casting an amber haze over the battleground. Shadows stretch and intermingle, metaphorically encapsulating the dance between prowess and the intricate web of politics cushioning these warriors. You begin to appreciate not only the physical exertion and coordination, but the mental fortitude required, the acute awareness each soldier holds within the grand mechanism that is the Persian military. You sense that, though the armour shimmers and the standards bear the weight of ethereal permanence, beneath lies a vulnerability, human ambition and mortal flesh wrapped in legend. Warriors may wield their swords, protectors might defend their walls, but it's the idea they serve that leads and follows them, across vast plains, through shaded forests and over desert dunes. An empire is built as much on dreams and symbols as it is upon the foundational stone and martial expertise. The Immortals are emblematic, a reminder that in the grand theatre of power, the lines between myth and reality often blur, present yet intangible, an eternal dance. As the day draws to a close, with the shadows gathering like memories of battles won and lost, you walk away with a newfound respect, perhaps even perilous admiration, for the Empire's silent guardians, the paradoxical warriors destined to fight under the Empire's unfailing sun, forever immortal, yet men, nonetheless. In a world relentless in its demands and dreams alike, know this: to be a warrior means to stand, to fall, to rise, echoing the enduring pulse of this mighty empire, this dream made stone and sinew. With the echoes of the army's drills fading into the dusty afternoon, you find yourself wandering towards the empire's monumental heart. Its architecture. The Roman Empire may be famed for its grand structural feats, but here, in Persia, artistry and engineering blend seamlessly, leaving behind a legacy as enduring as the sun-drenched stones themselves. Imagine your senses alighting upon the vast terraces of Persepolis, the heart of the Achaemenid dynasty. There's a coolness that greets you in the shade of its towering columns. Sunlight pours through in shafts, casting pale gold highlights upon the meticulously carved reliefs. The scent of stone, ancient and unyielding, mingles with the faintest floral whispers from distant gardens that surround these indomitable structures, a gentle irony against their formidable grandeur. Intricate artistry accompanies engineering prowess here. Every surface tells a story, meticulously etched in bas-reliefs that chronicle tales of homage and triumph, depicting envoys from around the world bearing gifts to their king. The empire's architects were visionaries who dared to challenge nature and space, crafting monumental creations that pay homage to imperial divinity in their sheer scale and complexity. Witnessing these feats, it's hard not to feel the weight of the empire's ambitions, as if every stone was hewn from dreams of eternity. Historians still marvel at how such structures, resilient even through the ravages of Alexander the Great's fiery conquest, were crafted with precision tools of the time. These weren't just palaces, but multi-layered testaments to Persian ingenuity, where reliefs whisper softly of Xerxes' victories and Darius' magnanimity. While some scholars debate the influence of previous civilizations like the Elamites or contemporary neighbors, the final aspect embodies an authentic Persian confidence, a mastery over materials, space, and human labor. Strolling through these ancient corridors, you realize they were intentionally planned to overwhelm. Gates nearly as spectacular as the city they guarded, their colossal bull-headed capitals balancing strength with artistry, serve as gateways to a world where the sacred and the mundane converge in subtle harmony. The Apadana, or audience hall, encapsulates this juxtaposition with its forest of columns, each one bearing the symbolic weight of unity, diversity, and Persian might. However, these sites call you to remember more than just their architects. They sing of an unspoken alliance between elements. Sunlight as collaborator, stone as canvas, and shadow as storyteller. Together, they inspire you to glimpse the empire not merely as territories inked on a map, but as a tangible, formidable force. An empire built to stand the test of epochs. Amidst this architectural wonder, innovation pulses with nerve and ambition satiated by myth. For example, the engineering marvel Conquests allows the empire's heartlands to bloom despite arid conditions. These underground channels channel water from mountain foothills, a subtle yet powerful testament to the expertise in managing vast landscapes. In this marvel of seamless integration, the mighty meet the intricate. The empire's construction techniques, started maybe with a humble pulley, speak volumes. As much to its societal ambitions as to its grandeur. It's been many centuries, yet these awe-inspiring structures reaffirm that the grand aspirations of builders know no bounds. Echoing the philosophy of the divine rulers themselves, as twilight descends, painting the stone in hues of amber and purple, the vastness of Persian ambition settles like night across a weary landscape. You leave the echoes of history behind, aware now of the tactile manifestation of an empire's greatness etched into eternal grandeur. The grand designs rise like alchemic dreams made real, a testament to the heights accomplished when artistry and power are woven into tapestries of stone. In your wake at Persepolis, dear wanderer, perhaps you realize that the empire's heart beats not just in its courts or fields, but within the solemn majesty of architecture that defies time, inviting reflection, awe and respect for what humanity can achieve. Such is the nature of Persia's legacy. Woven from dreams and imbued with the spirit of innovation, it remains as imperishable as the stones eternally underfoot. As the day deepens into the golden hues of late afternoon, your journey through the Persian Empire draws you into one of its most vibrant spectacles, the bustling bazaars. To wander here is to be engulfed by a tapestry of chaos and colour, where the Silk Road threads its legacy across continents, binding the far corners of the world with every trade and tale. The bazaar begins to come alive. Stalls are overwhelmed with an array of goods so diverse, it's as though the entirety of the known world converges in this microcosmic market. The aroma of spices, cinnamon, saffron and cardamom intermingle with the musty earthen scent of woven silks, their hues echoing the richness of a peacock's plumage. It's a sensory symphony, with each note as vivid and brimming with life as the next. Trade here is a cacophony. The melodic lilt of Persian Farsi blends with the guttural tones of Arabic, Greek, and dialects even more obscure yet equally vital, like the notes of a polyphonic chord. This bazaar is not just a marketplace, it's a junction of civilization's roads, where goods aren't just exchanged for coin, but where cultures are shared and carried across the empire and beyond. Each transaction is a dance, a delicate negotiation steered by both patience and prowess. You watch with fascination as sellers and buyers, clad in garments suiting warriors, merchants and peasants alike, haggle with a blend of fervour and ritualistic grace. Every bargain struck here is a testament to the age-old art of negotiation, finely honed by generations. These bazaars are more than just centres of commerce, they are the empire's pulse. It's a place where alliances are forged, with a handshake or a nod, where a whispered word can set the course for fledgling empires or extinguish aspirations like a candle snuffed out by an errant breeze. You note that amid the apparent pandemonium, the flow of trade is a well-orchestrated tapestry, each thread secure, weaving prosperity through deft hands. Within the bazaar's thrumming heart, dynasties exchange more than spices and silk. The laughter of women in stalls nearby mingles with the braying of camels, which bear their burden with the stoic resilience endemic to beasts of the trade. Merchants present their rare wares, precious gems from distant lands, the shimmering golden hues of Persian carpets and exotic animals, each offering a story, each a piece of the vast, interconnected jigsaw that is empire itself. Curiosity piqued, you glimpse more than just commerce. These bazaars house tales of wanderlust, etched into every fold of fabric and beaten into the intricate patterns of copperware. With every exchange, whispers of distant lands, philosophies new and ancient, and the hum of ideas merge into the rich cultural melting pot. At this crossroads, innovation and tradition embrace openly, with timed exchanges bringing forth unforced harmony. You'll sometimes see the emperor himself here, in disguise, moving silently among the throng. The stories tell of rulers who walk amongst the people, listening to their laughter and their woes. Or at least that's what the storytellers enjoy recounting, much to historians' debate. It is a motif as old as the empire itself, the benevolent ruler conjuring stability and strength from such snippets of daily life seen firsthand. As evening falls, you notice the atmosphere thickens with anticipation. Traders reluctant to close, knowing that as the stars emerge to sprinkle the inky sky, the stories and dreams of one more day will weave into tomorrow's dawn. These tales flow like silken threads from Lydian markets, stitching themselves along the veins of empire toward captivating places as far-reaching as the city of Merv or the fabled lands of the Indus. Ultimately, this vibrant marketplace and a distant echo throughout the ages is a testament to humanity's enduring will to connect, to barter not just goods but essences, competing yet always inextricably intertwined. Goods change hand by hand, but also tales, mysteries and encounters. An exchange deep and pure, in a way often glossed over by the grand narratives of power. You depart the bazaar with the sounds of barter ringing in your ears, their legacy woven like fine Persian silk. Here, nestled within the tumultuous heart of Persia, you come to appreciate how, beneath the delightful chaos, lies a strong, resilient thread connecting the land, its people, and its dreams in an unyielding tapestry of life. So take a breath, inhale the promise carried by every spice-filled breeze, and remember that every delightful transaction forms the complex, mesmerizing empire you traverse. As dusk softly spreads its velvet cloak over the bustling bazaar, you find yourself swayed by another facet of the Persian Empire's tapestry, a world of ancient alchemy, where herbal lore and age-old concoctions vie with the maladies of the time. This is the realm of medicine and healing, where nature's bounty is manipulated by the skilled hands of the empire's healers. Healing within this grand empire is a ritual born from necessity and delicate innovation, intertwining both mystical beliefs and empirical wisdom. Enter a lively corner of the marketplace, not unlike an apothecary but with an air redolent of both mystery and promise. The scent of dried herbs, freshly ground roots and aromatic resins mingles with the earthiness of crushed petals, creating an olfactory map leading back through the generations. These healers, their hands stained with the pigment of life, welcome curious wanderers and weary soldiers alike. Their stalls are veritable treasure troves, a labyrinth of bottles, pouches and dried plants, all promising relief or rejuvenation. They beckon with whispered remedies and sagely nods, trading in cryptic terms that hold sway over life and death's fragile balance. From a time before the written word, knowledge of healing passed from mouth to ear, a delicate transfer preserved by the interplay of generations. Contributions from Greeks, Egyptians, and ancient Indian Ayurvedic traditions merge into a singular school of thought, creating a cocktail lesson in survival teeming with diversity. Here, you learn that willow bark eases pain, its properties a distant ancestral echo of aspirin. Eternal poppy seeds lull both physical aches and restless spirits into tender ambivalence. You find honey not only sweetening dishes, but healing wounds, its antibacterial properties respected as much in ancient Persia as they might be in modern medicine. Yet it's not just plant lore stored within these humble stalls. Minerals intermingle on the healer's shelves. Copper is finely ground and mixed into potions to fight infection, while powdered lapis lazuli lends more than its beauty, the blue stone ascribed qualities that treat what ails both body and soul. The practice of treating humoral imbalances, which would later be a bedrock of medieval medicine, finds roots here. An inquisitive blend of observation and experimentation wrestled into purpose. The healer's intuition is revered as much as their skill, their eyes trained to read symptoms written across fatigued human canvas, finding even in the chaos of fever a method to calm the body's ramekin. It's an art, these rituals as much a mask of beliefs and trust which, while today may seem peculiar to our scientifically inclined eyes, lie steeped in genuine intent. Indeed, so many ailments still challenge scholars. Even historians find debate in unravelling the empire's medicinal lore, wondering which secrets remain undiscovered, lost within the folds of time's voluminous robe. As you delve deeper into the bustling stalls, you encounter not just cures for the physical, but potions meant to fortify the spirit. Incantations fold into these remedies, evoking an unseen protection perhaps even more potent than the corporeal relief they're prescribed to offer. Browse long enough and you might hear tales of lost amulets, whose charms heal as much with their imbued protection as with the mystique lending belief. In this cauldron of healing ambition, the Empire's wise men now emerge, a fixture within temple shadows, partners and sometimes rivals to Zoroastrian priests. Their legacy is one of continuity, adapting age-old remedies with every wave of plague and pestilence, each epoch's vexations the same coin with a new face. Night surrounds the bazaar, as you finally leave this sanctuary of herbs and hopes, finding your thoughts drifting to modernity's sleek capsule and serums. Spawned from this same quest for wellness and eternal life, consider how the unifying thread of hope binds us across millennia, a belief as comforting and necessary as any remedy. In this age-long dance with nature's medicine chest, appreciate, dear traveller, that even ancient remedies sought not merely to heal the physical, but to mend human frailty itself. For within these whispered potions lies the human spirit's unshakable tenacity, a capability to endure amidst sickness and long shadows, brought to light by the innumerable spectacles of time's embrace. As the night deepens, bringing with it the tranquil lull of the Persian evening, a new allure takes hold in the air, the intoxicating cadence of Persian poetry and the enchanting allure of entertainment within this opulent empire. Here, words breathe life into the silent tapestry of night, weaving fantasies as vivid as the starry mantle above. You stroll through elegantly carved doorways, richly adorned with tapestries that depict ancient tales of heroism and love. It is into a gathering such as this you step tonight. A salon where the elite recline on plush cushions, draped in silk and satin, their laughter mingling with the sweet notes of santour and tambourine. The room is illuminated by soft flickering candlelight, casting playful shadows that dance along with the enchanting melodies echoing from lutes and lyres. At the centre of this elegant affair stands a poet, a master of words, suspended in time and language, painting worlds with every measured breath. The room is silent in anticipation, held in the sway of the bard's evocative narrative tapestry. His verses flow like the rivers of golden ink across ancient parchment, each syllable a testament to love, loss, and the inevitable passage of time. The poet's stories transcend mere entertainment. They are a reflection of the empire's soul, a convergence of the sacred and the profane, echoing the same awe encapsulated in the monumental columns of Persepolis. Through verse you discover an intimate glimpse into the essence of the Persian spirit, one that celebrates courage, reverence, and the mysteries of the celestial dance above. Within his verses lives an evocative reflection on humanity's vast spectrum, expressions of courtly intrigue and everyday struggles, of unbridled passion and the soft caress of moonlit laments. Historians still argue whether these gatherings influenced political decisions as powerfully as any council meeting. Such was the sway of words skillfully woven. As you listen, tales of the legendary Shahnameh may unfurled, a compendium of kings and heroes, a poetic narrative brought to visceral life with dramatic flair. The room, transfixed by the poet's lyrical prowess, becomes a vessel for history relived through well-crafted stanzas, tales whose gravity and wit inspire laughter, compassion, or wistful sighs. This salon is not just a stage for entertainment. It serves as a crucible where intellectual discourse and cultural blossoming thrive. Here in these salubrious surrounds, laughter and contemplation hold equal measure. The bards draw light from the shadows, their narratives echoing the artistry found within the empire's grand architectural feats. Their audience, the torchbearers of creative and cerebral pursuits alike, embrace the exchange of ideas as passionately as the exchange of silks and spices. In intervals between the poet's verses, performers take the floor. Dancers, adorned in golden bangles and elegantly embroidered attire that shimmer under the glinting torchlight, weaving motion into tangible art. Their movements are fluid, each step a timeless rhythm, etching song into space, giving life to history and myth with unfaltering grace. It is within these artistic sanctuaries that innovation in art and thought find room to breathe, where new ideas are met with applause as eager hands reach to be inspired. The empire's writers, philosophers, and scientists alike draw strength from these gatherings, their thirst for knowledge echoing the reach of the empire itself, leaving indelible marks within the softer spheres of influence. The evening lapses into quietude, the poetic incantations leaving an indelible imprint on every heart present. You depart the salon with an enriched spirit, carrying with you the echo of verses that line the halls of the empire and the resplendent mirage it paints against the eternal sky. In Persia, beyond the grand scales of military might and architectural communion, lies a realm shaped uniquely by the power of art and words, where the expressive flourish of a poet's quill or the playful flutter of a dancer's feet inspires the empire itself. Remember, dear wanderer, that wisdom lies not only within the material dominion, but in the stories we cherish and the words that illuminate eternally. As the fiery sunset of cultural revelry fades into a solemn twilight, your journey through the Persian Empire leads you to confront a more somber, often obscured, yet underpinning reality: slavery. It forms the opaque backbone of an empire built on opulence as much as it is on the ambitions and aspirations of emperors and armies. Within this vast, multifaceted empire, the construct of slavery exists as an open secret, woven into the societal fabric with threads as dark as they are indispensable. Imagine, if you will, a myriad of souls engaged in an unending cycle of labor and obedience, their lives marked by service to the empire's grand ambitions, yet often left unmentioned in the grand retelling of its glorious past. You find yourself standing among them, as the humid night shifts into a day ripe with toil and motion, the air carrying the distant scent of newly turned earth. These workers of unnamed origins rise with the sun, their wearied eyes reflecting lives intertwined with both the mundane and the monumental aspects of Persian life. Behind the empire's glistening facade, these individuals toil in the shadows, constructing palaces, tilling fields, bearing water along the Ketus, and labouring within households that span Persepolis, Susa, and beyond. Slaves are taken from diverse walks of life and through varied means. Some are prisoners of wars won by Persian arms, others acquired through trade from distant lands, the silent spoils of expansionist endeavours. An unspoken truth muddles within the silk-woven corridors and bustling bazaars that these individuals, statured into society's substratum, are indeed the silent architects of Persian prosperity. It is within this hierarchy that you consider the contrasts, a puzzle of privilege and penance holding together an empire of immeasurable wealth and profound inequality. From cleaning the esagila to tending the horses of the elite cavalry or cooking lavish feasts for nobles, these slaves are in perpetual motion, their existence a testament to the unyielding demands of conquest. The empire's laws, crafted by Cyrus and his successors, do offer certain rights and protections, a blessing praised by ancient scribes and historians alike, yet often in debate they become a relic conditional as the wind's direction. A liberation not as free as freedom suggests. To some extent, slaves have the potential to earn their freedom, a faint beacon of hope, drawing them through years of suppliance and submission. Yet, even here within the deeper folds of empire's elegance, complexity arises. A singular promise of social mobility, where a slave could rise to become a trusted steward or overseer. The ranks of such leverages, you find, are thinned by personal bonds, forged under emperors more open to meritocratic endeavours. Their stories echo through halls, testimonies of persistence against a grand stain of inequity. Officials often relied on the labour from these individuals to sustain their grandeur, maintaining estates and fueling the machinery of rule. And, though they remain buried beneath the annals of historical spotlight, the narratives of these countless souls nonetheless etch the spine of history's parchment, a reality only fully appreciated by the bridge it provided for an empire to rise. In enclaves within larger communities, cities and estates, quiet moments with families left behind find them sharing tales of hope, of promise in life's twilight, of yearning captured in the poetry echoing from within halls they serve. A ballad as universal as it is personal. You see, dear wanderer, to understand the Persian Empire, the whispered tales of those beneath permit us to discern the duality of greatness, steered by the architecture of human brilliance. Empires grow in size and stature, often shadowed by the unsung songs of lives marginalized, yet eternally interwoven to the grandeur they build. Reflecting upon this truth as you exit their realm, you gain a broader understanding, an appreciation perhaps not fully realized or articulated by the exquisite monuments, the loud proclamations of history, yet all undeniably captured in the quiet essence of lives once lived. In acknowledging their unnumbered written lives, we respect the complexity of an empire's foundation and the dreams and toil that silently, yet unfailingly bore it forward. As the whispers of history's often mutant voices gradually begin to coalesce, the next steps of your journey bring you to explore the complex and multifaceted role of women in the Persian Empire. Within this grand theatre of power and culture, women navigate a landscape woven with both visible and hidden threads, where their impact is felt, even if their voices are sometimes quieted by the sands of time. Picture yourself stepping into a courtyard framed by exquisitely carved columns, a sanctuary draped in the soothing tranquility of morning light. The scent of blooming flowers and herbs swirls gently in the breeze, promising a day of tasks both mundane and monumental beneath Persia's far-reaching skies. In this expansive empire, the status and roles of women varied as widely as the landscapes over which the empire presided. Like colourful threads threading through a vast tapestry, many women were central to maintaining the intricate balance of societal and familial structure. Yet their contributions often rested, unacknowledged, eclipsed by more vocal chronicles of conquest and commerce. Within the rarefied confines of the royal court, women could wield considerable influence, acting as political advisors, schemers, and key diplomats in matters that affected the fabric of governance. Queens and royal women such as Parysatis were more than mere shadows at a king's side. Their footfall echoed in the hallways of power, where alliances were sewn across nations through marriage contracts and bloodline legacies. Historians still debate the degree of autonomy afforded to these noble women. Was it true influence, or an illusion spun by circumstances? Whatever the consensus, it's clear that some women carved their place in the empire's storied annals through their sharp acumen and political maneuvers worthy of the most seasoned statesman. Yet beyond the court, the reality for women in Persia tended to mirror the wider division of labour observed throughout many ancient societies. Many lived lives devoted to domestic duties, overseeing family affairs, child-rearing and household management. They embodied the unheralded backbone of everyday life, preserving and perpetuating traditions and knowledge within the private sphere. The textiles they wove told stories less visible but deeply significant, whispering of hands that spun fibres into narratives just as potent as those inscribed by scribes. These women, much like the resonance of songs echoed softly in the backdrop of a lively gathering, composed the subtle harmonies that enriched the empire's coherent equilibrium. The concept of the veil found its roots in traditional customs, signifying honour and stature as much as societal expectations. For some, it was an emblem of dignity and respect. For others, a paradox, a beguiling blend of protection and limitation. Nevertheless, in public and private, their voices mattered, whether they spoke in softened tones of domesticity or projected clear notes of leadership within matriarchal circles. Within the artisan quarters and lively markets, women engaged in economic activities akin to their male counterparts, trading, crafting, and furthering the ebbs and flows of commerce through their labour and creativity. The fruits of their work wove another layer into the rich mosaic that decorated the empire's imposing narrative. And in regions less centred on the capital's regal splendour, where tribal dynamics persisted, women often commanded greater agency. Here they could exert more direct authority in municipal affairs, enjoying roles that combined resilience with a remembrance of pre-imperial independence. As the sun slants towards dusk, casting elongated shadows across the courtyard, you begin to perceive how women's roles are as multifaceted and integral to life as the very walls and columns they inhabit. From royal court insiders to everyday artisans, their narratives mirror the strength and adaptability of the empire itself. Parting with a new perspective, you carry with you not just a portrayal of opulent and lavish courts, but the layered complexities and quiet resilience echoing from women who lived, loved, and laboured within Persia's grand expanse. For within their story resonates an enduring reminder of fortitude and grace, the memory of how even the seemingly unheard leave indelible marks on the world. Behind grand mirrored halls, through whispering gardens, remember that the past, like the finest Persian silk, is woven not just from shouted achievements, but the softly spun tales of intertwined lives and dreams. As evening descends gently over the grand expanse of the Persian landscape, you find yourself drawn not just by visual beauty, but by the intoxicating aromas wafting through the air. This scent-filled pathway leads you into the heart of Persian cuisine, a vibrant tapestry woven from an array of spices and flavors that make the very air seem rich with promise. Imagine walking through a bustling kitchen, a place at once chaotic and enchanting. The warm glow from the clay ovens bathe the room in a soft, flickering light. The tantalizing aroma of roasting meat, marinated in a medley of spices, fills the air, mingling with the earthy scent of fresh herbs, coriander, dill, and mint. The sound of sizzling pans is akin to a symphony, each hiss marking the start of another culinary masterpiece. Persian cuisine is a marvel of contrasts and combinations, a marriage of simplicity and complexity. Each dish tells a story drawn from the abundant lands and the diverse cultures that the Persian Empire encompasses. The ancient cooks wield their culinary skills with the same reverence as a scribe might handle a manuscript, combining ingredients to create dishes that are as beautiful as they are nourishing. Whether savouring a steamy bowl of ash, a hearty soup steeped in herbal flavours akin to a garden distilled into essence, or the delicate aromatic promise of rice flecked with saffron, each bite enriches your understanding of a culture that prizes both generosity and the pursuit of excellence. Culinary traditions abound with history, evolving over time with the ebb and flow of conquest and alliance. Typical meals might begin with a series of small dishes or mezzi, each a delightful prelude to the main event. Here you encounter mast o kyar, a refreshing yogurt and cucumber concoction occasionally punctuated by bursts of sweet raisins and walnuts. A celestial harmony in both colour and taste, preparing the palate for the symphony that follows. Then comes the arrival of the cherished pilaf, chelo daiso, a dish central to Persian cuisine, constructed from heavenly clouds of perfectly steamed rice. Historians still debate the origins of this culinary marvel, wondering whether its techniques were an indigenous art or influenced by interactions along Persia's extensive trade routes. To accompany the rice, there might be a robust koresh, a slow-cooked stew brimming with tender lamb, succulent chicken, or earthy lentils, often infused with the sweet tartness of dried fruits such as apricots or plump prunes. The complexity of flavours in a single mouthful might inspire more introspection than a philosopher's greatest treatise. Sitting amidst friends and family, meals in Persia are a shared experience, creating bonds as strong as any imperial decree. Plates are passed, stories are exchanged, and laughter flows freely like mingling rivers, creating life's tapestry, an empire nourished as much by its collective spirit as by the bounty of its table. As you continue exploring the culinary theatre, you stumble across fesanjan, a pomegranate and walnut stew luxuriant with a flavour profile straddling the line between sweet, sour, and savoury. This dish, like many in Persian culinary tradition, achieves balance through opposition, offering a rich reflection on the empire's own balancing act between cultural influences and indigenous traditions. Heritage sweets, such as saffron-infused baklava and rose-scented halva, offer a fleeting sweetness, a whisper of indulgence that remains deep within memory long after the last crumb has disappeared. As the night deepens and your senses linger over the lingering echoes of previously tasted delights, you come to understand how the Persian table is more than an avenue for sustenance. It embodies a cultural mosaic, a forum where tradition meets innovation, each meal a quiet celebration of life's bountiful harvest. To partake in Persian cuisine is to sift through layers of history, born from abundant lands and diverse peoples. Such is the nature of this culinary journey, dear wanderer, each flavour narrating an aspect of empire's spirited history and teeming life. As you depart with taste and time intertwined, remember that within every morsel lies a dream, an art, melding the earth's granaries with the whispered echoes of civilizations meeting at Persia's vast expanse. As the flavours of Persian cuisine linger subtly on your palate, your journey within the empire takes you into the shadowy corridors of power, where ambition, intrigue, and audacity converge. This is the world of royal succession, a chaotic yet structured battleground where the stakes are nothing less than the throne itself, and where the whisper of courtly machinations can change history. in the amber glow of torchlight flickering against opulent walls. Imagine a tableau of solemn marble and vibrant artistry. A throne room where every lavish inch speaks volumes of power and prestige. Behind the grandeur of this exquisite facade, a tension thrums within the air, dense with the collective breath of courtiers enmeshed in rivalry, reminiscent of the chessboard where kings and pawns maneuver with equal determination. The Persian throne, cast in both majesty and peril, holds appeal as irresistible as it is fraught with danger. To sit upon it is to command an empire of unparalleled greatness, yet that privilege calls forth challenges only the cunning and resolute survive. In this theatre, the players are numerous, princes, generals and advisors, each armed with ambition as sharp as any warrior's blade. As you wander through these hallowed halls, the echoes of previous rulers recount lessons and legacies. The memory of noble Cyrus the Great, whose shrewd statesmanship forged this expansive empire, haunts the palace's recesses with lingering grandeur, while tales of treachery and turmoil shape the resonant whispers beneath regal eaves, where successors ruminate over destinies. Historians still debate whether the Achaemenid lineage, in its quest for continuity, crafted an inheritance as much of burdens as it did of power. The cadence of familial loyalty often gets tangled amidst ambition. Legitimacy and entitlement twist together so closely that the resulting tapestry is rendered in hues of both triumph and treachery. Famously, the intriguing tale of Darius the Great's ascent is veiled in mystery. Whether crowned from strategic brilliance or divine endorsement remains a question persisting through scholarly discourse. In this kingdom of shadows, alliances shift with the unpredictability of desert winds, necessitating dexterity to survive. Kings engage in marriages more tactical than tender, forging loyalty and allies across regions through matrimonial ties that entwine power within domestic realms. However, beneath this ostensibly stable arrangement lies a maelstrom, an ever-evolving chessboard where one misstep can lead to swift downfalls or impromptu coups. Courtiers roam these mazy paths with palpable solemnity, covertly plying their influence, guarding ambitions behind smiles belying intrigues more labyrinthine than Persepolis' own ornately carved columns. It's here you encounter a royal court, alive with the spectre of betrayal and strategic foresight, a macabre ballet where appearances deftly mask turmoil, and truth often remains elusive. Watching from the sidelines, you perceive personas both larger than life and desperately human, each seeking permanence in a world governed both by the sacred flame of Zoroastrianism and the earthly volatility one steps from victory and ruin. Here, advisors wield words as weapons, weaving advice that might maneuver pieces unseen on battlefields, tangible yet ephemeral, charted in whisper and ink alike. One needs a keen eye to distinguish whether strategies revolve around genuine counsel or ambitions disguised by concern. The stakes demand a delicate balance of empathy and ruthlessness, as sovereignty turns on an axis of fate both unforgiving and opportunistic. Such tales breathe through the corridors, ingrained upon stone shaped by victory and lament. As night draws its dark velvet curtain across palatial skies, your departure invites you to reflect on the enduring dance played throughout history's script, lighter than stardust. To bear the crown may seem a privilege overarching, as the bearer becomes a master of empires yet a captive of aspirations and fears wrought by personal ambition, ancestral legacy, and the hopes of countless lives entwined. Remember, dear traveller, that the battle for the Persian throne, much like the empire, thrives on dualities of strength and vulnerability, bound by legends and stepped-in strategies strategically orchestrated and mere mortal vulnerabilities. Within these intricate entanglements, lessons abide for those who would walk the path, treading carefully between greatness and the history that waits patiently to unwrite or rescript them. In the quiet that follows the intense machinations of the royal court, your path curves toward a more contemplative realm, one where the mind dances with the universe and scholars engage in an age-old pursuit of understanding. This is the domain of science and philosophy within the Persian Empire, a place where ancient wisdom meets ambitious inquiry, seeking to illuminate the darkness with the torches of knowledge and reason. Imagine stepping into a library, an architectural marvel of both functionality and beauty. The walls are lined with scrolls and clay tablets, each bearing the weight of collective learning that stretches back through the centuries. Here, the air is imbued with the scent of aged parchment and ink, mingling with the musky aroma of knowledge. a scent as rich and complex as the ideas it harbours. This intellectual sanctuary is a testament to Persia's commitment to the pursuit of knowledge, a dedication reflected in their fostering of myriad disciplines, from astronomy to medicine, mathematics to metaphysics. An empire renowned for its grandiosity also nurtured profound thinkers who looked beyond star-paved skies in search of truths that stretch across the heavens as well as the human soul. Encounters with newfound philosophies were not merely relic bundles, but dynamic dialogues, engaging Persian scholars with the intellectual giants of neighbouring civilizations. The Greeks, Egyptians and Indians all contributed to a cultural exchange that infused the Persian ethos, turning it into a vibrant crucible where ideas ignited potential and expanded understanding. In this sanctuary of thought, you find generational knowledge as intricate as any of the empire's famed azure tiles. Mathematics flourishes here, with figures like the renowned mathematician and astronomer Al-Khwarizmi finding eventual renown in later ages, his work on algebra laying groundwork for future explorations. A testament to cross-regional influences that blossomed through Persian-inspired gardens of insight. Astronomy, too, holds a sacred place, with stargazers charting the celestial dance and offering their interpretations of the heavenly order. A quest not just divine but pragmatic, shaping agricultural cycles and bolstering decision-making amidst royal courts. Historians still argue over the specifics of how Zoroastrian cosmology might have influenced these pursuits. Its concepts mirrored subtly within astral interpretations and advisors' musings. In these intellectual explorations, the influence of Zoroastrianism, a faith espousing a cosmic dualism and the interplay of order and chaos, casts its shadow, offering a framework through which scholars interpret their world, searching above for answers just as diligently as they plumb the depths of internal landscapes wrought by philosophical pursuit. Among philosophers, the tension inherent in Persian thought emerges, a testament to the empire's colossal scale and varied tapestry, a dynamic interplay between faith in divine order and human endeavour, coloured by a rich palette of ideas evolving with time. Within these hallowed halls, debates soar, examining ethics, existence, the soul's journey, a quest to reconcile material with celestial, earthly origin with divine aspiration. Here, under a roof knitted from human inquiry's boldest aspirations, the past's voices recount tales of musings debated and discoveries shared. Translations and annotations enhance the humility born of scholarly discourse, forming bridges of understanding that hover over cultural streams bearing truths oft hidden beneath conventional currents. You watch as pupils sit cross-legged, their teacher akin to a ship's captain navigating knowledge's vast, uncharted waters. They listen, swayed by an absorbing narrative explaining concepts as nebulous as human spirit's arc and as concrete as geometry's intricate perfection. In their wide-eyed commitment, you glimpse the future architects of thought inspired by ancient pursuits, a hopeful saga seamlessly entwining empires through the corridors of time. As daylight wanes, leaving a silver-tongued tranquility within the library's walls, you come to understand that the Persian Empire's intellectual shadow stretches far beyond its borders. It lingers like a distillation of diverse exchanges, a flickering light embraced by future scholars whose inquisitiveness echoes through histories yet unwritten. Reflect, dear traveller, on the legacy interwoven from seekers of wisdom, their ambitions serving as lanterns guiding human progress along scales broader than a singular empire's grasp. This, then, is the gift of the ancient scholar, a unified promise buried within humanity's shared endeavour to understand not only what resides on earth, but what dreams may drift among starlit paths. As you emerge from the sanctuary of the library, where knowledge unfolds its branches like an eternal tree, the onward path leads to the vibrant heart of celebration within the Persian Empire. Here, festivals illuminate the intricate strands of cultural identity, intertwining with superstitions and beliefs that shape both the mundane and the mystical aspects of life in this ancient world. Imagine stepping into a courtyard, alive with colour and sound, where laughter and music dissolve into the evening air like echoes from ages past. The people of Persia hold a deep reverence for celebration, marking the passage of time with festivities that reflect both the bounty of the earth and the cyclical dance of the cosmos. Each festival, vibrantly alive with cultural tapestry, carries whispers of tradition and echoes of the divine. One such celebration capturing the very essence of Persian spirit is Nowruz, the Persian New Year. A festival rooted in Zoroastrian beliefs, it heralds the arrival of spring and the renewal of life. As you join the festivities, the world transforms into a kaleidoscope of vibrant hues, a spectacle of fire and light, symbolizing purification and the triumph of warmth over the chill of winter's shadow. The aroma of sweet pastries lingers in the air, mixed with the zesty scent of citrus and the warm spice of saffron. Tables are adorned with the haft scene, a ceremonial display of 7 symbolic items, each representing different aspects of life and renewal. Here, apples signify beauty, garlic wards off ill fate, and coins embody prosperity. Each item carries layers of meaning, speaking in a symbolic tongue that stretches back through generations. In the midst of these celebrations, superstitions weave themselves like golden threads into the fabric of daily life. Tales of the humour bird, a mythical creature said to bestow kingship upon those whom its shadow touches, merge seamlessly with the laughter and dance, adding a hint of magic to the mundane. Historians still argue over the exact origins of these ancient customs, debating whether they emerged solely from Zoroastrian roots or were a grand intermingling of influences absorbed through the empire's vast exchanges. Regardless, the enduring power of these traditions lies in their ability to evoke a sense of unity, grounding the empire's reach in the shared rhythm of celestial cycles. As darkness falls, replacing the vibrant glow of dusk with a star-studded blanket, the role of fire becomes sacred and ceremonial. Bonfires are lit, their flames reaching skyward, a beacon against the night. Friends and families gather around these fires, leaping over them to cleanse their spirit and welcome the coming year with a heart unburdened by the past. It's an age-old ritual of beauty and belief, casting off shadows to embrace light. Beyond cultural festivals, omens and superstitions colour the contours of daily life in subtle yet profound ways. The empire's tales are populated with jinns and spirits, beings that dance on the periphery of human understanding. These stories often serve as reminders of life's duality, of the tangible and intangible intertwining like latticework, casting patterns of fate and fortune. Throughout the empire, omens influence daily decisions. Farmers sow their fields under specific lunar phases, guided by the ancient wisdom inscribed in both earth and stars. Travellers might alter their paths if shadows fall an uncanny way, or a fox crosses their path at dawn. A light-hearted jest, yet one taken seriously by those who walk its trails. As the night's festivities draw to a close, leaving echoes of laughter hanging in the air like departing souls, you carry with you a deeper understanding of how these festivals and superstitions do more than merely mark time. They connect past to present, elevate the ordinary to the extraordinary, knitting the tapestry of Persian life as intricately as the finest carpet. In this land of majestic empires and expansive horizons, the celebrations and beliefs that flourish speak to a timeless truth, that even within a world of grandeur and conquest, it is the small joys and shared mysteries that ground and define humanity. As you depart from this night of myth and merriment, remember, dear wanderer, that every festival, every whispered superstition is more than ritual. It is an enduring covenant with time itself, inscribed in the very stars that guide us. As you wend your way through the empire's intricate tapestry of stories and beliefs, your journey next takes you to one of its most enduring and vital arteries, the river Tigris. This mighty river courses through the heart of the Persian Empire, a lifeline that nourishes its lands and stirs the imagination with its ceaseless flow. Picture a dawn tapestry, painted in hues of gold and amber, as the sun's first light kisses the river's surface, setting its gentle waves aglow with an ethereal luminescence. The Tigris, one of the twin rivers cradling the Fertile Crescent, is no mere geographical feature. It is an integral thread in the empire's narrative, shaping both its landscape and its people's destiny. Along its banks, the scents of damp earth and wildflowers mingle in the crisp morning air. The river is alive with activity, a constant partner to the rhythms of ancient life. Fishermen haul in their morning catch, their netted prizes glistening in the soft light, while traders load their goods onto boats destined for bustling markets downstream. The Tigris embraces them all, a liquid road connecting towns and cities, cultures and ideologies. As you cast your eyes over the river's breadth, you behold an impressive symbiosis that belies the empire's reliance on its gushing bounty. A giver of life amidst the arid reaches beyond its verdant banks. Canals, the qanats, and irrigation networks stretch like tendrils from the river's heart, drawing its life-giving waters further inland, nurturing the fields of barley and groves of dates that feed the empire. These innovations, marvels of ancient engineering, reveal an understanding of the land's language that predates even the earliest written word. The Tigris is not merely a supplier of sustenance, but a stage for myriad human stories. Once it bore the vessels of proud kings, such as Darius and Cyrus, upon its calm spans. Their flotillas projected Persia's influence far and wide, and even now, sages find in the river's story a deeper resonance, a place where the temporal and eternal converge, with a hum of history's pulse. Along with its ally, the Euphrates, the Tigris cradles the very cradle of civilization, Mesopotamia, where the earliest inklings of human society took root. The river's namesake cities, such as Ctesiphon and Seleucia, find their glories mirrored upon its stilled reflections, their fabled opulence partly ascribed to the river's unwavering provision. Historians engage with animated debate about whether the river's influence on culture was predominantly practical or spiritual, a symbol of life's cycles mirrored in society's progress. In the mythology of the land, the river is as much a metaphor as a reality, a window into a world where gods and giants once walked, stories and tales carried like reeds upon its current. Its waters whisper age-old secrets to those who silently sit upon its banks, a testimony of patience and quiet strength that flows onward, unheeding of the rise and fall of kingdoms and empires. Beyond its geographical importance, the Tigris bears the spiritual significance through Zoroastrian elements, the eternal struggle of waters, representing life, against the desiccating heat of the desert, personifies the dichotomy inherent in nature and humanity alike. As the day unfolds, boats navigate its length, loaded with spices, textiles, and jewels, a colourful mosaic of the commerce that pulses across the empire's veins. The river roguishly glints beneath the craft, a constant companion to those who call its banks home, ensuring that life's essentials travel along its rippling furrows, knitting the empire's sprawling limbs tightly together. As you stand by the river, a gentle breeze nudges at your senses, coaxing a thought-inspiring tranquility. Here, at the confluence of history and nature, the sense of continuity is palpable. The generations upon generations who have gazed upon the same unsettled ripples are a testament to the inexhaustible ebb and flow of time itself. Departing from this ancient river, your reflections linger along the Tigris's path, the river unfurling before you like a story without end. Consider, dear traveller, that in this empire of titanic scale and unfathomed dreams, the gentle heartbeats of the Tigris will stream eternal, whispering sagas of life-giving tenderness beneath the grandeur of Persia's sprawling embrace, a sacred ribbon threading onwards amid the endless sands. As the meandering waters of the Tigris fade from view, your journey through Persia shifts to a different kind of flow, one marked by the relentless tide of invasions that threatened the great empire's boundaries throughout its storied existence. The empire stands as a testament to resilience, fortified by its capacity to absorb and adapt in the face of unyielding challenges. Picture yourself standing upon the crenellated walls of a grand fortress, its ancient stones fortified against both time and adversary. The wind carries the distinct scent of dry earth and promise, mingling with the tension that comes with looming change. The Persian Empire, in all its might, sophistication, and diversity, exists not in splendid isolation but as part of a wider, dynamic world, one where the ambitions of neighbours are as vast as the desert stretches. Throughout its history, the empire weathered waves of attempts upon its borders and authority. From fierce nomadic tribes from the steppes of Central Asia to the ambitions of looming Macedonian cloud fronts, the empire faced threats that tested its mettle. Each incursion a challenge, but also an opportunity for demonstrated fortitude and adaptation. Most famously, the Persian Empire confronted the advance of Alexander the Great, whose campaigns marked the end for Darius III's Achaemenid dynasty. Yet even here, in defeat, the empire sowed seeds for future resilience. Productions of architects, scholars, and cultural exchanges continued under new regimes. As remnants of Achaemenid splendor merged with Hellenistic innovations, a grand tapestry woven from diverse threads. The incursion under Alexander was not just a tale of conquest, but one of cultural blending, where East met West in vibrant exchanges altering the face of the empire, and leaving scholars debating the impacts. Whether Persia left a greater mark on Hellenic traditions or vice versa is a narrative dance that still captivates historical discourse. Yet these were not the first nor the last to challenge the Persians. The Scythians, fierce and mobile, raised, only to melt back into the shadows of the steppes. Later Alans, Huns, and other formidable invaders emerged, spectres as fierce as they were transient. Each brought with them hyperbolic tales of terror, yet met with strategies as enduring as the wind curling against the rocks. To their favour, the Persian Empire possessed a formidable defensive acumen born from ecological adaptation. The frontier satraps, positioned along the empire's vast perimeter, functioned as both protective buffer and early warning, a second layer, waiting in repose, ready to engage invaders, combined with cavalry forces such as the cataphracts, capable of both absorbing and repelling attacks by sheer force and maneuverability. Formidable resistance lay ever on alert beneath the empire's broader narrative. Seldom is the aspect of resilience seen more vividly than in the Persian spirit, a tapestry of ideologies and innovation weaved together over time. The empire learned and evolved from each brush with adversity, crafting a civilization resilient and robust in its management of diversity, an innate flexibility manifest in architecture, language, and even cuisine. As night falls softly upon the fortress, torches ignite along the battlements, casting a warm glow over the determined expressions of those who stand watch. You come to recognize that the empire's true strength lies not merely within its military might, but its ability to absorb newer elements while retaining an innate, unyielding essence. A legacy of adaptability that persists even amid uncertainty. For each wave of invaders, the Persian Empire found within itself a tangible force more meaningful than armament, a cultural resilience, a unity amid diversity, that allowed it to not only endure, but reframe its narrative within history's grand tableau. As you step away from the fortress walls, the air still carrying the echo of ancient war cries faintly upon it, consider this: empires, like rivers, face interruptions both feared and unimagined, yet their capacity to adapt breathes vitality into the valleys of civilization. Such is the Song of Persia, a melody marked by perseverance, inspired by a will to forge, adapt, and then prosper amid the cycles of continuity and change. From the well-defended walls to the heart of cultural expression, your journey now takes you deeper into the veins of the Persian Empire's written legacy. In an era where stories and wisdom travelled as far as the empire's reach, the ability to communicate ideas, records, and decrees held immense power. Here, Persian language and script emerge as pivotal in painting vibrant historical narratives across the canvas of time. Picture yourself within the halls of a scriptorium, a place alive with the rhythm of quills scratching parchment, where scribes concentrate intently beneath the dusky glow of oil lamps. The air is filled with the rich, earthy scent of ink melding with parchment, a tangible fragrance of knowledge being painted word by word, letter by letter. The written word in the Persian Empire was not merely a tool for administration. It was a thread winding through the empire, securing society's fabric with the clarity and continuity of thought. Cuneiform script, one of the earliest writing systems mastered by those who served the Achaemenids, still conjures debate among scholars about the exact nature of its complexity. Was it a tool for order, or a rigid structure for control? Yet here in Persian soil also emerged Old Persian script, a linear script employed for imperial proclamations and royal correspondence, famously etched upon majestic stone reliefs, whilst serving as records chiselled eternally into the annals of history. It spoke not merely of governance but of grandeur, wielded as much in the service of aesthetics as in administration. As the empire expanded, so too did its linguistic tapestry. Aramaic emerged, serving as the empire's lingua franca, threading through diverse cultures and allowing for communication that united rather than divided. It was a language of empire, a bridge connecting provinces from the Indus Valley to the eastern fringes of the Mediterranean. This multilingual vibrancy was reflected in enduring documents like the Behistun inscription, a monumental relief that not only served as a statement of Darius I's power, but as evidence of the linguistic sophistication achieved by the empire. Historians still marvel at this trilingual record inscribed in Old Persian, Elamite and Babylonian, a testament to an empire that understood the persuasive power inherent in language. Literature bloomed under this versatile, multilingual environment, expressing not just royal decrees but poetry, mythology, and the annals of gods and men alike. The tales told within palace walls stirred with a lyricism that inspired later literary movements and laid the philosophical groundwork for empires yet to arise. Within these texts lived a cultural memory, one deftly archiving achievements, lore, and law in equal parts. The creation of archives and libraries, vast reservoirs of written culture, saw the preservations of Zoroastrian hymns, scientific treatises, and statecraft. The very DNA of Persian intellect bound within scrolls and clay. Significantly, the written influence transcends mere survival. It flourished beyond conquest, mingling with incoming Greek influences post-Alexander, leaving its indelible mark on evolving Hellenistic and later Islamic thought. The Achaemenids and their successors understood the agency of the word, allowing historians today to piece together the vast tapestry still clinging to Persia's age-old borders. As daylight fades and lamp flames flicker inquisitive shadows across the walls, there's a stillness where you reflect on these scribes. You realize the profound truth that each inscription marks a moment suspended in time. Their tireless work leaves an imprint neither tangible conquest nor divine edict alone could boast, the shared legacy of an empire articulated in script. Departing from the scriptorium, you carry with you newfound respect for the power and resilience wrapped within the gentle curve of a scribe's quill. A reflection of how empires such as Persia endure, not just through conquest or architecture, but through the everlasting narrative etched across scrolls and stone. Remember, dear wanderer, that within the whispered scrolls lies a binding unity. Words and stories hold the might to shape dreams, so they translate humanity's essence. Through time's embrace, they immortalize, and through Persia's script, they bathe the past in present light. As you leave behind the intricacies of written legacy, another layer of mystery beckons you within the vast expanse of the Persian Empire, one that resides deep in symbolism and lore. Here you encounter the realm of animal symbolism and the legends woven tightly into the cultural fabric, a testament to the imagination and spirituality that breathed life into daily existence. Picture a landscape where nature and myth intermingle seamlessly, where the regular appearance of animals serves not just as a physical companionship, but as a representation of divine whispers and cultural ideals. In the Persian Empire, these creatures transcend the boundaries of the earthly kingdom, inhabiting an ethereal plane where they communicate the ineffable and embody characteristics revered by society. Central to this symbolic bestiary is the mighty lion, standing with a regal bearing that mirrors the qualities associated with Persian kingship: strength, courage, and nobility. Rendered in art and architecture, the lion often appears in combat with the mythical bull, a depiction that historians and scholars often interpret as the embodiment of power triumphing over chaos, a metaphor for the empire's eternal struggle against disorder. The simurgh, another emblematic creature, is no less significant, a mythical bird akin to the phoenix, revered for its healing qualities and wisdom. Its striking plumage adorns many a tale, with tales suggesting it nests in the tree of knowledge, offering enlightenment and hope. This storied creature symbolizes renewal and purity of spirit, a beacon amid the labyrinthine uncertainties of life. In courtly conversations and civilian chatter alike, references to the huma bird, flutter, a harbinger of fortune and spirit transferal, known to bestow luck upon those it flies over, an emblem of transformation and ultimate liberation. Its presence enriches the heritage of a people ever conscious of the divine caprices that weave their fate, lending veracity to omens spoken or dreams dreamt beneath the celestial vault. Beyond the mystical, the royal court itself esteemed falcons and hounds, valued for their roles in hunting and companionship, yet also as symbols of loyalty, agility, and devotion. These animals, respected and trained with precision, mirrored the empire's ideals of discipline and loyalty. In Persian poetry and storytelling, animals serve as metaphors for human traits and behaviors, rich with lessons of morality and the perennial search for wisdom. The poet unfolds tales where foxes epitomize cunning, ingenuity, camels reflect endurance and resilience, and snakes embody transformation. Each creature a teacher of sorts, inviting audiences to reflect upon the values they espouse and the legacies they build. The cultural intersections within the Persian Empire fostered exchanges that coloured these symbols with ever-deepening complexity. Cross-cultural inspirations enriched the empire's own bestiary, as Indian, Babylonian, Egyptian, and even Greek influences converged in a vibrant tableau of shared myth and symbology. To immerse oneself in this world is to grasp an understanding of Persian perceptions, where the human and the divine intertwine and reinterpret the ordinary through fantastical narratives. Each creature charged with representing universal themes as relevant today as in epochs past: resilience, renewal, hope, and harmony. As twilight draws its soothing veil across the empire's domain, stars shimmer above like a canopy woven with legends, shared classically by hearth or heart. In this introspective light, you ponder the idea that these narratives reflect a humanity striving to define its place amid the cosmos, seeking to understand life's universal tapestry. Departing from this gallery, you bring with you a heightened awareness of how animals, poised at the intersection between truth and myth, inscribe meaning and offer solace within Persian life. Their stories whisper with subtext, inviting the listener to dream long after spoken tales dissolve like morning mist. Remember, dear seeker of stories and symbolism, that in the continuum of time and empire, it is often through the eyes of creatures great and small that humans glimpse their own reflection. A tapestry spirited with lore that speaks, if you will listen, eternally. As you gracefully transition from the animal-rich tapestry of myth and meaning, your journey now traverses into the realm of decisive ambitions, the conquests and strategic maneuvers that propelled the Persian Empire to uncharted frontiers, an orchestrated expansion seeking to thread the empire's influence through corridors of power, culture, and alliances. The air is electric with possibility, the scent of strategically baked bread wafting through encampments where soldiers and statesmen alike gather to chart new territories. Here, within the heart of this methodical yet dynamic empire, a story unfolds. A game of geopolitical chess played across vast landscapes, every move rooted in understanding human nature as much as territorial gain. The empire's entries into new regions often began with the gentle overture of negotiation, a shedding of preemptive shadows from quills poised over parchment. For Persia, conquest held a multifaceted purpose, solidifying home front strength, extending wealth's harness, and perhaps most admirably, fostering cultural exchanges that bore intellectual and spiritual fruit. Under the aegis of Cyrus the Great, the empire's borders expanded with purpose and persuasion, extending a hand of tolerance and mutual enrichment. Rather than imposing a single ideology, Persia often allowed conquered peoples to maintain their customs, a strategy that forged stronger, more lasting allegiances and minimal resistance. Darius I, his successor, inherited this legacy with zeal. His era marked expansive campaigns that redefined the empire's physic map, venturing into the complexities of Thrace and the rich complexities of the Indus Valley. His motivation seemed as much about exposure to the world's wealth and wisdom as it did with the spectrum between might and restraint. In these expansions, Persia honed its administrative prowess, ensuring that conquered regions became integral threads in its richly woven quilt. Satraps and regional governors appointed from both local and Persian nobility embodied the empire's delicate balance between centralized power and regional autonomy. Their administration kept the empire expansive yet cohesive in its expanse. Yet amidst tales of alliances and negotiations, invading was not without its challenges. As the Persian military ventured beyond its traditional sphere, it confronted cultures with its own ambitions, and traditional roots as steadfast as Persia's own. Each campaign required adaptation, with persistence just as much as iron smartly wielded. An ethos absorbed into strategists' veins. Historians argue whether the empire's ever-expanding ambition itself sowed seeds of eventual unrest. Encompassing regions whose accords fluctuated with new regimes and cultures, possibly more emboldened once tides turned against Persian tides. Remarkably, long dialogues ensued within corridors of power, debates as inherently tactful as military campaigns themselves shaped into them. Success was not a token of blades and blood alone. The Persians recognized the art of diplomacy and prestige as potent forces of conquest. Treaty and tribute paved ways inward, as frequently as did battalions' marches and galloping cavalry's proud shadows across changing soil types. Yet, for every martial strategy painted gloriously onto the strategic canvas, tenacity remains supreme, defining the empire's gospel amidst outcomes not universally bonded to exigence. It is these trials, these endeavours, that echo through history like murmurs of unseen winds. As the moonlight bathes the grand tent of expansion, you begin to see how Persia's legacy is subtly etched along time's Lin Clare. Not as a tale of relentless conquest, but dialogues inspiring both glory and introspection. Growth, resilience, and diplomacy weave into an infinite spiral engraved upon time's grand theatre. In departing from this plaza of conquest, consider, dear traveller, how borders present themselves as both horizons for stretching ambition and cocoons invigorating deep, luminous histories. For every league claimed, whether direct charge or beneath veiled intentions, lies the dream of an empire striding boldly, with persistent steps into a future where history still thirsts, yet shall further flourish. As the strategic manoeuvring of Persia's conquests settles into the annals of history, your path now leads toward the empire's abundant resources and the luxurious treasures they bequeath to fuel imperial ambitions. The richness of Persia's natural world becomes evident, an enchanting canvas of geography and geology yielding prosperity and prestige. Imagine cresting the rise of a hill, gazing upon expansive plains that stretch as far as the eye can perceive, each variation in the landscape telling a unique story of bounty found beneath the feet of Persian destiny. The empire's territories, diverse and vast, offered a wealth of resources, each contributing its own hue to the tapestry of Persian prosperity. In the rolling hills surrounding you, fertile lands stretch under expansive skies, soaking in the sun's life-giving warmth. In these regions, agriculture flourished, wheats and barleys burgeoning in lush promises at each harvest, feeding a thriving populace whose collective labours nourish an empire's dreams. Dive deeper, and you encounter an ecosystem resplendent with produce that would become synonymous with Persian luxury. Pomegranates and peaches, herbs and legumes, staples of a diet as diverse as the land's yielding. The region's prime produce was traded far and wide, its exotic fruits and spices reaching markets as distant as Anatolia and Egypt, their influence slipping through like luscious nectars honeyed across borders. Beyond agriculture, the empire boasted rich deposits hidden beneath its surface, the veins of earth bearing precious metals that fed both economy and iconic narrative. Silver and gold flowed from these mines like the glistening rivers above, constructing not just empires in currency, but dreams in architecture. Towers and monuments gleaming under light's embrace. Moreover, lush pastures to the west reigned supreme, bearing horses of esteemed pedigree, acclaimed for their fighting spirit and steadfast loyalty, a spectacle oft reminiscent of Ibn Fadlan's varied accounts. Trade winds wafting stories of wonder and zeal. The strategic location of Persian-controlled lands ensured valuable resources, the waterways offering fertile grounds for growth, the jagged mountains serving as nature's own formidable defence. From these geologies emerged talc and clay, dyed of earth and shaped by hand, the materials composed for a great legacy in both practical and artistic virtue. Within these veins of plenty rose merchant caravans, shadows cast like the silken threads binding an endless tapestry. The empire's opulence, spanning not just realms upon map but into imagination, transcended simple possession, arriving as potent symbols both of power and perspective. Yet, thriving along these riches, perched growths of ambition, complexities tied to the coveted luxuries. Historians continue to debate the balance between the allure of wealth and the burdens of maintaining territorial expanse amid fluctuating allegiances. A timeless questioning echo carrying beneath the wealth. The gifts of the earth, as bountiful as they were, laid the groundwork for an estate upon which culture stood alongside conquest, a living tribute festooned by beholders transformed into stone, preserved imperially into tales etched and art adorned upon tapestries striding ages. In the golden light of afternoon, as sunburnt skies dwindle into indigo overhead, the silhouettes of evolving, thriving settlements remain starkly amongst a landscape vibrant with promise. The riverbeds glisten with promise of life realized and anticipation shared. Upon departing from this alchemical forge where nature collaborates with humanity's artistry, inspiration and bounty alike, consider, dear wanderer, how the slightly uncovered treasures whisper a continuing promise. For empires built upon Earth's balancing scales learn that the keys lie nested within their profound ability to imagine, ambition, while recognizing and respecting the limits set by dreams shared timelessly. Such reflections impart on a humble reminder that Persia, as an empire humming with life's harmonies, echoes, "Here lay no mere ownership of riches, but experiences, elevated by the empire's capacity for harmonious interaction between people and nature." In tracing those paths, consider the ethereal balance Persia struck, adapting with undulating grace throughout its ageless dance, as enduring as the winds scoring promise across God's own painted earth. As the golden fields and verdant orchards drift into the periphery of your journey, your steps lead you toward the shadows cast by the impending twilight of the Persian Empire. In this section, witness the gradual decline, as the subtle strands of decay begin to unravel the rich tapestry woven over centuries. This is a story not just of conquest and splendor, but of human complexity. An empire that rose to majestic heights now faces the inevitabilities that all great civilizations must confront. Breathe in deeply. The air is still imbued with the sense of prosperity, a faint trace of spices clinging to the breeze. Yet beneath this aromatic facade, you begin to sense the shifting undercurrents. Subtle signs whisper of change. As with all empires, the Persian grandeur carries within it the seeds of its challenges, simple threads threatening to quietly unweave its narrative. Within the grand archways and mighty stone structures of Persepolis, cracks, both literal and metaphorical, have begun to appear. These fissures, unseen by those dazzled by outward gleams, become more than mere imperfections. They hint at shifts within the very foundations of power, drawn and redrawn through every corner of the empire. The complex network of satrapies, once harmonized in bureaucratic cohesion, now struggles beneath the weight of self-interest, ambitions diverging as loyalties question the hand that guides them. Satraps and regional rulers, granted autonomy to govern effectively, subtly probe the limits of their freedom, testing boundaries that once stood firm to guard against dissent. Persian culture, once a beacon of inclusivity and adaptability, now begins to feel the strain of maintaining such vast and divergent identities under a single banner. The rich mosaic of influences and traditions, while once a source of strength, carries tension threatening to fray at its seams, a complexity turned challenge as needs diverge and priorities shift within this grand chorus. Even nature's bounty, gifted by the Tigris and Euphrates, wanes beneath the pressures of climate and overuse. The irrigation systems, once marvels of engineering foresight, require maintenance and innovation that struggle to pace demand. Fields risk depletion, the lifeblood of the countryside straining against changes, rippling with uncertainty. Famine whispering at times in the quiet like an uninvited guest. It is said that great shifts come not with heralding blares, but quiet murmurs. The minds of those who govern now redoubling efforts to maintain control amidst evolving tides. Historians still argue regarding the greatest trigger of this decline, whether it lay within the failures of leadership or the rise of external challenges. Hungry as Persia had once been for fresh conquests and renown among civilizations, external pressures mount, a new constellation of powers rising from once dormant lands. The Seleucids, Parthians, and eventually Sassanids emerge, eager to carve their narratives upon ancient maps, a new generation seeking the mantle of empire left tantalizingly within reach. Borders become battlegrounds. The once sturdy Achaemenids now face adversaries equal in ambition, if not yet prowess. Yet despite this, the soul of Persia does not falter. Though the power structures may fragment, the people continue. Pottery still spins, songs remain sung under stars. Even amid decline, its spirit perseveres, one born not solely of kings or conquests, but of farmers and thinkers, artisans and travelers sharing ancient roads and modern hopes. As you wander through an empire touched by both brilliance and burden, remember that its story, like all grand tales, perceives its sharpest edges gentled by time. Empires, once titans of dreams carved into earth, leave lessons about the cyclical nature of human endeavor, reminding us that stories endure beyond their makers, legacy extending threads well into futures unseen. And parting from this chapter of demise, know, dear traveller, that behind Persian twilight, embers glow amongst twilight's haze, enduring spirit flickering like beacons, ready to inspire, even as the dance of history turns anew. Let the indelible echoes of Persia teach that, even as shadows lengthen, the once and future possibilities shared pulse eagerly within paths travelled, renewal steadily awaiting its chance. As the twilight of the Persian Empire gives way to the ink of night, the enduring legacy of this great civilization continues to illuminate the world with its indomitable spirit, a testament to its achievements and its influence that reverberates across time and space. The echoes of historical grandeur grow subtler, woven into the tapestry of modern identity and ethos, a legacy that transcends the boundaries of ancient maps. As the remnants of grandeur gently fade, imagine standing before the ruins of a once great palace, each stone whispering tales of bygone eras. The air around you holds a cool stillness, punctuated by the soft whispers of wind caressing the remnants of a bygone majesty, a tangible presence still vibrant in the ruins of Persepolis or Ctesiphon, where once shimmering capitals now bask nostalgically in the sun-dappled silence. Yet these ruins are far from silent. Within their artistry lies the blueprint for later empires and nations that would carry the torch onward. The influence of Persian governance structures, with their layered administrations and innovative approaches to cultural integration, provided models for future states and rulers. The concept of a centralized administration that respects regional autonomy, a cornerstone of Persian statecraft, illuminates paths world over, threads weaving into modern existences as freely as silk through a loom. The court ceremonials and respect for diverse cultures, languages, and religions within the Persian umbrella served as a beacon of remarkable tolerance and acceptance. Zoroastrianism, with its tenets of light, truth, and the enduring battle between good and evil, laid philosophical frameworks that subtly informed other faith traditions and moral orientation. Historians continue to debate the extent of Zoroastrian influence on Abrahamic religions, tracing tendrils of thought like roots beneath ancient lands. Persia's advancements in infrastructure and technology, its expansive road systems, Charnut irrigation techniques, and architectural innovations, seeded knowledge budding far beyond the empire's fall. Echoes of Persian innovation resonate in engineering feats throughout Asia and into Europe. Legacies matured and melded into the marrow of other cultures, reapt and refined as shared wisdom. The ethereal beauty of Persian art and poetry transcends the ruins, the songs of poets like Rumi or Farid al-Din Attar, finding new expressions in every epoch and culture, touched by the timeless cadence of Persian verse. Its intricate artistry, symmetry, and metaphor breathe life into languages, evoking shared humanity, echoes that vibrate through centuries, across languages, binding people with the universal language of the heart. The Persian emphasis on learning, science, and philosophy carries forward, influencing monastic scholars in medieval Europe and invigorating Islamic Golden Age polymaths. Through translation and transmission, Persian contributions underscored developments in algebra, astronomy, and medicine, a bridge where past meets the continuous dawning horizon. In tracing these threads, you begin to appreciate the powerful legacy Persia wove, but also the subtle beauty of its human spirit, one that grows not only through conquests written in stone, but through the continuity of ideas, beauty, wisdom, and humanity vibrantly shared. As night envelopes the landscape, and stars pinprick the vast heavens above, consider the vigour of a light sowed long ago, of how Persia's legacy continues, dancing within the rhythm of modernity, a beacon amongst the spectrum of human civilization woven from the ancients' fingerprints. Reflect, dear traveller, as you stand amidst the vastness of this silent and eloquent testament, that within Persia's story lies a profound reminder. Empires may rise and fall, yet their essence, the aspirations they birthed, and the human ideals they cherished weave themselves into the very fabric of our collective journey, re-emerging as memories, traditions, and shared futures. The legacy of Persia, in all its complexity and grace, remains a timeless tapestry, a myriad threads woven into the grand coil of history, a continuum of human creativity, intellect, and hope, waiting eagerly for future generations to explore, honor, and expand upon with illustrious dreams and shared endeavors. Standing at the threshold of history's grand tapestry, you have journeyed through the heart of the Persian Empire, a rich odyssey woven with brilliance and intrigue from every pebble, word, and tradition. Now, bathed in the gentle embrace of the night, the time comes to reflect on the grand essence of what Persia whispers to both past tempest and future dawn. As you close your eyes and take a deep breath, envision the Persian Empire not merely as an accumulation of conquests or artifacts, but as a tapestry of life, humming with the resonance of poetry and the wisdom of sages, interwoven with the textured history of kings and commoners alike. Imagine once more standing amidst the grand columns of Persepolis, feeling the cool stone beneath your fingers. Each touch a reminder of an empire that, although silent in its ruins, still speaks volumes through the legacies it left behind. The sun sets, casting long shadows that blend seamlessly into the fabric of time, pulling the warmth from the stone, yet leaving vestiges of its radiant spirit. Recall the Persian bazaar bustling with its rainbow of voices and languages, a testament to the trading spirit that spanned mountains and oceans, knitting the world together with strands of silk, spices, and stories. Such connections endure within the corridors of commerce and dialogue, gently whispering the name of Persia through the ages. The empire's heart was as much its innovation as its preservation, a marriage of adaptability and tradition, of human courage and gentle understanding. Wander small paths that lead to grand expanses, and those that return to humble human beginnings. Each passage echoing with resilience, a harmonious testament to an indomitable spirit that dared to dream, to explore, to connect. As the stars of this narrative, unfading across time's tapestry, sustain the momentum of exploration, it is nature itself that carries one last breath. Like truth, a realization that legacy is not bound in physical edifice, but cascades freely through every human endeavor, every culture it has touched and inspired. By now, night has fallen, shrouded in soft velvet woven by the eternal loom of the universe. Let the gentle whispers of the Persian Empire cradle you into slumber, their symphony blending with the night wind, carrying bitter-sweet allure of ancient lullabies, still resonating with humanity's grace and grandeur. Let the hum of the ages swirl around you, daubing each dream with a brush dipped in time. Know, dear traveller, that the echoes of Persia are not just past, but woven into the continuum, an ever-present guide schooling us with lessons in tolerance, ambition, and shared splendor in our shared tales of growth and embrace. As you ready yourself to drift upon ancient whispers, allow history's soft richness to guide you on the river of dreams. You swim gracefully, cradled by memory, carried through courses yet unwritten, and unfurling gently into starlit, desiring futures. Let the echoes calm you, dear wanderer, for though empires may fade, the essence within them, the stories, dreams, love, ambition, and human triumph, remain ageless, caressing fields of time with breaths of infinity. Rest now, entrusting your dreams to the star-kissed waves that weave life's magic. Greater than, greater than, greater than, greater than sweet dreams.